Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing well. Nice to see you today. This is
It's-
our third session, so we might unpack some things today and see how we can move forward. Before we get started, because I know in the last session you said you want to talk about some things specifically. Since we last saw each other, what are some positive events that have occurred in your life or that you've
Um,
experienced?
I just been doing just a lot of self-care, a lot of me stuff, building new friendships and relationships and stuff like that. So I've been doing things a lot for me lately, not feeling super anxious or anything. So,
Good. Has there been any
and I'm
negative
going home.
events?
I'm going
Oh,
home. I'm going home in about a week and a half.
okay. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited. I love when I am away from Huntsville.
How long will you
So
be staying at home?
it's only 2 weeks, but I mean, it's okay. It's okay. It's 2 weeks, but I can do a lot in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. 14 days.
Yeah. Well,
What are
it's not.
some of your plans?
It's not really like 14 whole days. It's like maybe like
Oh,
it's close to 14, but see my grandpa, um go to Philly and see my family, my
okay.
siblings and stuff. Um me and my friend, we're going to Atlantic City for the day,
Okay.
just
Sounds
seeing my
nice.
peoples. So
Good.
I don't have everything planned out. I haven't really made my rounds yet. I just made my flight like 2 days ago.
You started somewhere, so that's all that matters.
Yes.
And sometimes being spontaneous is exciting too, because when you have
Yeah.
to plan for every day, it can get a little tiring. What side
Yeah.
of town you want to go on, where you want to drive today, where you want to
Mhm.
eat.
Definitely eating a lot,
I
eating a
hear
lot.
that.
'Cause when I
Nothing
come
like
back,
going home and
yeah,
eating good food.
yes, because down here it's not cutting it. They say the
I agree.
South has good food, and I'm like, I
Not
I
this
see
South.
it, but I don't see it.
Probably more like Georgia and Florida and maybe Birmingham.
Birmingham is cool. Birmingham
Yeah.
is cool.
Huntsville doesn't make the cut.
Mm-mm. Not at all. But yes, definitely eating a lot of food because when I come back, I am changing my eating habits. Um,
Right?
Definitely trying to unbig my back.
I'm there with you. This is like your last hoorah before you eat right, whatever
Yeah,
that means to you.
eat
Has there
clean.
been any negative events since we
Um,
last saw each other?
I mean, I just feel like, people have been very, 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 very trying my patience.
Hmm.
Um, but that is really what it is. But I have not folded at all. Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think you haven't folded or gotten into that temptation when someone's trying you?
Because I just feel like I came to a point where in the past I used to always feed into negativity and things like that. And I just feel like where I am in my life now, people expect me to act in a negative way. So let me just give them something that they don't expect.
So it sounds like you're trying to not act how they're expecting you to act, kind of keeping them on their toes.
Yes.
And how have you been feeling lately? Like, what has your mood been like?
Um, I feel like my mood has been like a little fluctuating, like it all depends because some days I like being around people. Other days, I just want to be by myself and just be in my room all weekend. Thursday, I mean, yeah, Friday to Monday morning. Um, yeah, it's a hit or miss. Let's say that it's a hit or miss.
So your mood changes, and sometimes you want to be social, sometimes you want to be to yourself.
Mhm.
And I see how that kind of ties in when you mentioned at the beginning of the session that you've been doing a lot of self-care lately.
Yes,
And a lot of self-care comes from you being by yourself. So I see how you're strengthening that.
definitely.
And how has work and school been for you?
Work is going really good. I have like a little spat with a coworker, but um other than that, it's going great actually. I do my work, I go home. School this semester, it has not been a stressful one. And I appreciate that. It's a little things that's like, ooh, but it's not like fall semester and spring semester where I'm in
Mhm.
my bed crying
Because
because
it's,
I'm so overwhelmed.
yeah, that might be, I don't know, due to it being a shorter semester, or it might be the professors that you have. Because
Yeah.
I know that some professors make it a little harder, even though it's summer, and then some try to just make it, strictly about learning and not trying to stress you out.
Yeah, the professor, she's not a stressor, and that makes me really excited.
Good. I mean, who wants to be stressed out in the summer?
No,
Like, you already decided to go to school in the summer. The least you can do is not be stressed out.
exactly. Exactly.
I'm glad to hear that work and school is going well for you. Um, what are you hoping to get out of today's session?
Honestly, today's session, I just want to like some things go.
Okay.
Um, yeah, like things that have been in my mind and just really get like another person's perspective on it.
Okay. You want to start with that first?
Yes, we can start with that. Okay. So I can give you what happened recently, and if you need some more background information, just let me know.
Okay.
Um, so I had went to this vegan spot that is located by campus. And when I had drove there, I had saw a friend. Well, he's not a friend, it's my ex. My ex. I
Okay.
had saw him when I was getting out the car. But I saw him and he didn't see me. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just move fast so he don't see me.
Right.
Um, as I'm walking, he's like calling my name, calling my name. So I'm trying to act like, oh, I can't hear you. I'm just gonna ignore you.
Mm-hmm.
Then he says my government, like my entire name. So I turned around, what's up? And he's like, hey. And I'm like, hi. And I go back and I walk into the store. And he sends me a message talking about, oh, you too good to come and talk to me. Sir, why do I have to come and talk to you? What do we have to talk about? The last time we spoke, you was just dogging me. So what do we have to talk about? Like, what exactly? I'm like, I thought you were just speaking. If you just wanted to have a conversation, you could have, you know how to start one. Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
you give me a chance. I said, oh, well, okay. And he was like, well, you be safe. And I'm like, you as well. So that like triggered me just a little bit because in my mind, why you want to pick a fight with me? And why do I have to come and speak to you when the last time we spoke, you was just talking bad, like talking down on me. So in that moment, I felt triggered because I'm like, why do people always feel like I have to be accessible to them?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that just irked me. So yeah.
So it sounds like your relationship with your ex ended off on a bad note. Is
Yes.
that
It
right?
it it was, the whole entire thing was just very tumultuous. Like very tumultuous. But I finally came to a point where I'm like, listen, I'm not doing this. I love me more. I'm gonna take care of me more. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
leave you in dust.
Have you healed from it
I am healing. I'm not gonna say I'm healed.
in the process? Okay.
I am healing.
Okay.
It's a long process. But
Absolutely.
I feel like now I'm finally at a point where I'm like, I'm not doing this. I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck. Like, that is the game we not gonna play.
Right.
So if you
You're
want to
not
be
trying
out
to go back in
here,
that.
I'm too old. We've been playing the game since 18 and we're 25, 26. We're not doing that. No.
Sounds like you set some boundaries with
Yes.
him and with yourself to not go back in that state. So,
Yes. God removed me by myself. I gotta leave by myself before I be stuck with a little person for eternity.
hmm I am glad that you are doing that. And I'm glad that you're healing one day at a time. That's how you can do it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I applaud you for not engaging in that because it sounds like you know what would happen if you engage into a conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
Acting like nothing ever happened and no, you were just
like
talking
you're
about.
just a new person, you just know me.
Can you pause this really quick?
hmm
Let me know when you pause it.
Okay. So we were talking about before we paused it, um, how can that
Setting
conversation benefit you? I was getting to that point.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I'm glad that you didn't engage in that because it sounds like you wouldn't have gotten any benefits from having a conversation with him or your ex. Um, so glad you're having boundaries.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't have boundaries for a long time. I didn't this boundaries is a new thing for me. I never set them. I pretty much just let people do, especially if I cared about them, I pretty much let them do what they do and just accept it as like, oh, this is them, this is who they are. But I got tired of that, like overwhelmed. Um, it irritated me. I felt like I wasn't happy at all because I felt like I was in a people pleasing mindset. And now I feel like, especially with that situation, like he was just always like a very vocal person and would tell you how he felt. And oh, I don't care if it hurts your feelings, this is how I feel, period. So at least with him, I just felt like I had to get to a point where you gonna talk your shit, and so am I, and that's that. And really, like the last situation, um, it was just we just basically part ways because he just felt like he can have his cake and eat it too, but I could not have my cake and eat it too. And I just felt like, yeah, no, like,
Absolutely
that's
not.
mm-mm, mm-mm. And we just had like some words. He used to like always talk about like my body and things like that. And that used to really bother me. So we had gotten to it because he had made a comment about a picture I had posted on social media about my body previously. And it just triggered me. I'm like, listen, you don't have the right to do that. Like,
Hmm.
you're not gonna do that. Like, you need to worry about yourself and what you have going on, like worry about the women that are built badly in your life, not me.
Not me.
But I think he felt as though I was talking about the women that he is in relations with, when in actuality, no, I was talking about your mom and your sister and them. But that just got into a whole thing of like, yeah, the women that I deal with is this and you're not this, and and I'm like, okay, like that makes you happy. You want a cookie? Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, you're not gonna keep doing this to me. Like, and if this is how we're gonna constantly communicate, you can see your way out my life because I don't want this. And I'm not gonna have this actually. So I was like, yeah, let's just dead the communication. So like, let's just dead the communication because I see this is always going to be the conversations. So if this is the conversations, bitch, you can get the fuck on. So when I saw him and I already said that and he wanted to talk to me, it just was baffling to me because didn't I just tell you that I don't want to talk, that we don't have to talk? But because you want to talk to me, I'm supposed to stop. You're saying I never said I was too good to talk to you. I just said where until you learn how to talk to me properly, we don't have to talk at all.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes people in our past feel like they can't let go of us, even though they've done stuff to where we don't want to deal with them. But they can't recognize, even though I hurt you and I stabbed you in your back, you still need to be a part of my life because I want you to be a part of my life.
Oh, oh, the fuck? Can you hear
Mm-mm.
me? Okay.
So that's where those boundaries come in, and just being consistent, because sometimes they'll push you to see if your boundaries are really going to stick. Like, if I call you 5 times, are you going to answer finally? And I will you in, and it's the whole thing. So, sounds like that's what he's doing. He might not be doing that. I don't know, but
But
sounds
yeah,
like
it was like that for a long time. 'Cause it's like a very on and off again, but we're off. Like we're off.
switch is
Cut.
off, is broke.
We're you that soul tide has to go. You gotta
How
go.
how did you feel during the relationship when your feelings weren't considered, or you just kind of heard his side all the time?
Um, I really just like was feeling really small. Um, I felt really small because even though I'm not scary, I know how to speak my mind very well. I'm a person that I know the power of words, and I know that words can hurt you more than anything else. So I just will refrain from saying certain things because I'm like, if I love this person, I don't want to say anything that's gonna make them hurt.
Right.
So I felt like all the time I was saying, fuck my feelings because I don't want to hurt his feelings. Um, so yeah, I felt small. Like I felt like I was always the problem. Um, it just was very not happy. It was happy times, but more times than anything, I was unhappy and just sticking because I love this person. And love is not enough. It's just not enough.
Absolutely.
It's
Well,
not.
has that feeling changed since you left him and just been healing on your own as far as being small, either in relationships or just in life in general?
No, because that would be like the only space that I really felt like super small and undefeated because in other areas like I was like such a big personality. Well, I mean, I can say that I felt small in certain aspects, especially when I wasn't like confident in myself outside of that, relationship. Um,
Mhm.
Times where I felt small and nobody knew I felt small, but it really wasn't like a small of like a person making me feel this way. Really, it was like me, and I'm not doing the things that I thought I would be doing at this point in my life. So
Well,
yeah.
that's very common to have like a big personality or being outgoing, and then in certain situations, like with your family or with your spouse, you're different. Because sometimes we do have to be different depending on who we're dealing with. Not necessarily saying that you have to be small towards your mother or towards your spouse, but sometimes that outgoing personality doesn't match with every relationship. So
Right.
it's very common to kind of change how you are depending on who you're dealing with. But see, you've recognized, your strength and your value and your worth. And sounds like you're being more meticulous with who you're engaging with, but what you're not going to engage with.
Yes.
So I know during the last visit, you wanted to talk about safety.
Yes.
You said you had a lot to talk about with that. So where would you like to start?
Um, Honestly, I just feel like in the recent of years, um I feel like we weren't, I feel like abduction was always going on,
Hmm.
but now it's more like televised. Um, so like I told you, like I'm from New York City or whatever. And growing up, like I did a lot of like unsafe stuff, roaming around places I didn't have places I shouldn't have been roaming around. Um, I feel like as I've had some like awkward, weird experiences. Not, I wouldn't say awkward, but not safe experiences.
Hmm.
Like when I think I was in high school or middle school. Yeah, I had a roommate, not a roommate, God, I had a neighbor that had been living next door to me for like forever. And he had came back, his family had came back to the neighborhood and we saw each other and it was like, oh, like haven't seen you in a long time. And like we had like a very generic thing going on. But then like one day he like was trying to make me do some stuff and I really wasn't like feeling it. The vibe wasn't the vibe wasn't
There.
there. Kind of like had to like fight off a little bit. Um, so at that moment, I stopped moving like a little carefree. I still was carefree, but I was more aware of my surroundings because I didn't want a situation like that to happen again. Um, uh, I feel like when it comes to like men, I'm not comfortable around them. I don't feel safe around them at all. Um, yeah, so like being around like a bunch of dudes, especially like dudes that I don't know, like I get very uncomfortable because it's like I don't know what your intentions are.
Right.
I don't know what you're trying to do. I don't know what you're capable of. Um, uh, even like had like sketchy situations. Like my aunt used to have people, her friends like stay at the house or whatever, and my grandma
Mhm.
wouldn't know. And like I'll be sleeping in the living room. And one instance, like I'm sleeping in the living room, I was watching TV, and then like next thing like I feel somebody reaching over me. So I wake up and I just see this guy reaching over me, like trying to like grab something. And like I jump up, like, what the hell is going on? Like
Yeah.
I was just in the living room by myself. How I go from in the living room by myself to this man is reaching over me.
Yeah.
So I say like that made me like even now to this day super nervous. Like when I'm touched, if someone touched me in my sleep, like I'll jump up, like what's going on. That that's a thing. Even when like dating dudes and stuff, I don't feel like super comfortable with sleeping. It's like, okay, I'm gonna sleep in my corner and things like that. But please don't touch me to wake me up out of my sleep because that's gonna scare the living
There you.
shit out of me. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to impact in one day.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, we can. That's the beginning.
Okay. So starting with the neighbor, how did you like move forward with this person like living next to you?
So he used to live next to me, but when that
Mhm.
situation happened, his people had moved already.
Oh, okay. He just was back
So
in
he
the
just was
neighborhood.
coming back to the neighborhood.
Okay. So you didn't have to be concerned about your safety to the point he was next door.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since that incident, and that was over 10 years ago.
And then I know in the first visit you did mention how you're not comfortable with men, mainly because your mom didn't bring
Yeah,
men around, if I remember that correctly. Um, and that's such a common and reasonable response because we see in the media and in our lives and in our friends' lives, my stepdad, my mom's boyfriend, my neighbor, the garbage man, the utility man came by trying to touch on me, looking at me crazy, flashing. We see where men are the main culprits of affecting our safety. Women do it too, but we just see that more in media. And
right.
so it's common to not trust them because you don't know what their intentions are. And this
Exactly.
can include family, unfortunately.
But
Plenty.
I feel like with that also, um, it's a good thing, but it's kind of also like a bad thing because it's like you're instilling that you shouldn't feel safe around like men and like uncomfortable and really like employing like putting your trauma because my mom it was a victim of like molestation and rape as a child, so it was like putting her trauma onto me.
Mm,
Or really it's like, okay, she's, you know, doing this for my safety, but also, dumping her trauma onto me.
okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. So, did she tell you about her experience with being molested, like, at a younger age when you got, like, in adolescent years?
Yeah, so my grandma was married to this man, and he was the person who molested her and things like that. And he would take her with him to the Bronx, just like see his friends or whatever. And like he would give her something to drink, and then she would be knocked out, and the next thing she knows she would be on the train back to Brooklyn. So like he would let his friends do stuff to her, and my
Mm,
grandma didn't do a good job protecting her, but I mean, he was abusing my grandma too. I just found that out. So it was just a lot, a lot, a lot.
is he still around the family?
No, he left my grandma like in the 80s.
Oh,
So,
have you ever met him?
he moved back to
Oh,
Africa and died.
okay. So, it sounds like that kinda affected your mom and how she dated or brought men around, is that right?
Yeah, I've only been around one man. I mean, I know my biological dad and stuff,
Mhm.
but like my dad wasn't really around. Um, and then it was just me and my mom. And then my mom started bringing around my stepdad, and that's the only man I ever saw my mom with, honestly, my stepdad.
Okay. Mhm.
So if she's dated other people, I have no idea. I just know my stepdad, which I call my dad. So sure.
She may have, I'm not sure, but she may have shielded you, from other men so that could prevent you being in her shoes when she was younger.
Yes, definitely.
And I know you said you had a good relationship with your stepdad, so it sounds like, that is one male figure that you would feel safe with or felt safe with in the past.
Definitely. I mean, the men that were and are in my life, like growing up and stuff, I never felt unsafe around them. At times, I felt like they were just hovering too much. Like, let me
Gotcha.
breathe. Even now, like I'm grown. I can do what I please. Like
Step back.
I got me. Trust me. I'll call you if I need you.
Hmm. that can be that protective factor, but yeah, learning when to step back helps a healthy balance,
Definitely.
especially since they don't live near you, or at least most of them don't live near you.
Nobody.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you're right. The kind of fear or uncomfortableness with men could translate into an unhealthy idea, um, if that's your thought about every man that walks around. But the good thing is you can kind of navigate that on your own, however you're comfortable with it. But you can, as a suggestion, you could maybe utilize discernment or, just taking time to see what their intentions are if you choose to. You shouldn't really do that with every man that walks past you. But
Right.
if someone is interested in dating you, or if someone is just like a nice classmate and you think y'all could be just good, genuine friends, time can possibly reveal their intentions and who they are as a human being. And a lot of times your body will let you know if you should be comfortable around someone anyways. So
Right.
I'm glad that you acknowledge that it can be unhealthy, but maybe just taking time and not judging a book by its cover, but not being naive, for every person that you meet, because there are some really strange and dangerous men out here and
Yes.
women as well. They're
Mhm.
starting to use women as well. Um, and I know you started off the whole conversation with abduction. You're right. It's everywhere. It's on social media. It's on the news. We get the Amber Alerts. Well, that's really for children, but the trafficking, the gas station, the grocery store, your apartment complex, you can be
Yeah. This girl, she got kidnapped in Birmingham. Well, in Hoover yesterday. Like, that's
like a child.
no, a 25-year-old girl.
Mm,
She was abducted yesterday, 9:30 to 10 p.m.
mm.
She was, yeah, on 459, and all her stuff was left in her car. Yeah.
Like her cell phone and wallet and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to talk about the one that was like a month or so ago, one that was pregnant and they found her like burning on some street, but you're talking about something
Oh,
different.
oh, I didn't even see that. No,
Yeah,
this
this
one just
one,
happened
oh, go
like
ahead.
yesterday.
Oh, okay, yeah. I didn't hear about that. But when I was talking about a lady was meeting someone on Facebook, like Facebook Marketplace to buy something, and they kind of think that it's personal, because of what happened. But she was supposed to be buying something. They met her, and I guess they took her, killed her, burned her body in the car, I think. So they think it's personal because of usually that doesn't happen randomly.
With the
But yeah, that
baby?
was probably, yeah, she was pregnant, probably at least 5 months.
Wow.
This was somewhere
Yeah.
in Birmingham. But yeah, it just happens everywhere around us for no reason at all, no good reason at all.
Yeah.
And even when we're cautious, unfortunately, some things can still happen. But if you have a faith, you can use that and just be cautious going into the world and being careful. That's
Yeah.
really all we can do.
And then when you have it like that hit close to home, it's kind of like, I think
Yeah,
that's what made it like really real for me, because like it hit close to home. Like one of my close friends was kidnapped and murdered. So
yeah,
that was like a oh my gosh. So like that makes it makes me like freak out. Like my friends, when they cut their location off, it's like, yo, why is your location off? Cut your location
Right,
off. What are you doing? Like,
right. I don't care where you're at. Just keep it on.
I'm not watching. Just tell me,
Right.
like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna say, okay, be safe. Like, so
And that's understandable because you know, like you said, you do have a close encounter with this. This is not something that you just watch on TV. This is something that you lived.
yeah,
So absolutely, that's going to be a response, unfortunately.
yeah, sadly. This is my life. But I'm more cautious in things that I do now. Like even though people could get abducted at day, but like I don't get gas
Hmm.
at night. If I'm going somewhere at night, like I'm gonna call someone, I'm gonna be on the phone,
Hmm.
or like I'm just gonna go straight to my destination. Like I might got 2 miles to empty, but I know it's a gas station a half a mile away. So I'm just gonna go
Right.
home. And when I
Try in
wake
the
up,
morning.
when it's sunrise, I'm gonna put gas in that car. But I had a personal experience at a gas station too. So
Yeah. And I think you told me about that in the first, excuse me, the first session.
right.
It's just a lot of creepy stuff that goes on. And now, like, they use children, they use women. So you would think, like,
Then
oh, this
like
lady's in the gas station with me. She's just being nice. Mm-mm. Or this child is walking around saying they're lost. And you would
mhm,
think, like, yeah, let me go see where their parent is. They're using them to get you abducted. So it's like you can really trust
nobody,
nobody. Yeah.
no, it's schemes going on. Like
Too many. Like, I know one time in Alabama, like in Montgomery, a few years ago, they were dressing up as police officers and knocking on people's doors, like apartments and stuff, and kind of bum rushing people's apartments. And they would get taken that way or drugged, maybe slap something on their nose. Like it was a real scary time. And it was Montgomery, and then they started doing it in Troy too. So yeah, it's like anybody can be impersonated. We know it's illegal, but nobody cares. Anybody can be impersonated.
wow, wow,
And next thing you know,
wow. That didn't get to Huntsville, so I didn't even know about that.
yeah, that was probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm,
But you know, taking life one day at a time and just being cautious and meticulous about our moves. And I'm glad you have some good practices, not going to get gas at night. You know, do you not go out at night too? Or
no, I mean I go out. I'm not gonna say like before I really wouldn't like go out that much, but
Mhm.
um I go out. Well, I wouldn't go out for real at all, but now I go out on occasions. I don't just go out to go out like I used to.
Mhm.
Um I
So
I've
are
been
you
to,
with people?
I go out with people, but I also go to like the same places like where I know people at.
Mhm.
Um, and if I don't know where people are at, like, okay, I go with people. I'm like, okay, we're gonna walk to the car. We're gonna walk to the car together. If your car is far, take
Yeah.
me to my car, or
Yeah.
I take you to your car. And that is that, let me know when you get home. If you
Mhm.
don't send that text message, I'm like, okay, if I have your location, I'm just gonna look at your location and not bombard you because I have that problem. So I'll be like, I'll text you when I get home. But if somebody got my location, I'll be like, just watch my location.
Yeah,
So
I've known
yeah,
people to do that as well. And like some people, they're really specific, like they don't say they're home until they're inside because some people say I made it home and I'm in the parking lot, and anything can happen between you getting out that car and getting in your front door. So, but yeah, having that the location and a good support system and decent friends to where they want to see you get home, you want to see them get home. You don't want them to walk by themselves. That
right,
helps.
right.
And
Moving
that goes
past.
back to you, keeping good company like you talked about in the last session. Because if you didn't have good company, they probably wouldn't care about where you're going. Hey girl, see
That's
you
true.
next time.
It was good seeing you.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't care to not see you again. I don't care to hear from you. Yeah, just be at your phone next week when I'm ready to get out again.
Yeah, and I don't have friends like I'm also being very intentional with my friendships too because
Hmm.
we're not we're not
Yeah.
doing that. We're not playing those games.
Yeah, you're maturing and weeding out things in your life that you don't want to be in there. And I'm
Exactly.
seeing that. So happy for you.
Thank you. It's good.
For the next sessions, is there anything that you would like to see happen? Anything different?
Um, honestly, I kind of like the way they are going now. It's not super structured. I feel like I'm just letting things out.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we're getting some things done. Did you feel like you let some things go? I know that was your phrase when we first started today.
Um, yeah, yeah, I did. It's good to talk to someone who doesn't really know about all of the things, so it won't be like, but you do this and you do that, and it's kind of
Yeah, a neutral party.
like that's
Right.
how.
Okay, good. So we will keep things the same. I just always like to ask if you would like to do anything different or if there's anything that you want to see, because again, this is for you. Whatever you want to get out of therapy, we are here to create that. And like I said in the beginning, I'm not in control. We do this together. So I'm always open to feedback. I'm always here to see what you want to do, because if we do what I want to do, it's not going to help you. So we need to
Right,
do what Oni wants to do.
that's true. That is
We'll be
true.
here for feedback every session. And are we still doing Thursdays?
Yes, Thursdays are good.
Alright. You want to do every 2 weeks still, or you want to
No,
change it?
every 2 weeks is good. That's good for me.
Right. And I know you're finishing the semester and you're going home. So did you want to still keep it at 2 weeks for this next session or move it out while you do things? It's up to you.
Um, let's move it out,
Okay.
and I'll
When you get back,
yes, I'll be
okay.
back on the 9th.
August 9th. Okay. Right before school starts. All
Gotta
right.
get my TLC before fall semester stress comes.
Mm-hmm. It's only right that the fall semester stresses you out.
Yes,
All
but
right.
graduation is near.
I will see you once you come back, and I look forward to the next session.
Yes, yes. So excited.
Right. Thank you.